Welcome back. There it is. To the 11th episode of Church Culture. I can't hear you, Jason. But welcome back, everybody. Just an update for the podcast. We are officially on Spotify.
Because of Margaret,
Our special guest. And also, I've been uploading the episodes to YouTube because I know a lot of people listen to podcasts on YouTube. So it's just an audio file, like with the picture of our logo. But I mean, it's still
something.
Yeah, something until we get money and buy cameras and stuff, and so we can record. Yeah, maybe, probably not. But yeah, welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Manuel.
How was y'all's day? What's y'all's Sunday like?
Wait.
Hold on, we'll get to it.
Oh.
No.
Manny?
Okay,
well,
whatever.
Yes, Manny, how was your week?
Okay.
That's all he ever says.
Thank you so much for stopping by. All right. Anything interesting or no?
No, just work.
Yeah. Still working you're still at the Central Plaza, right? Oh, you're doing the road?
Via.
Yeah.
Oh, for Via.
Mm-hmm.
What route do you have?
I'm a floater.
Oh, just whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Something different every day. That's cool. All right, JP, what about you?
Not much.
Thank you so much. No.
Pulled a page from good old Manuel.
Yeah, just one word answers.
Just working, fighting the good fight, like Paul said.
Anything grinding your gears?
There's not enough time in this podcast.
Oh, we have time. We can make it part 2.
What about you, Abraham? What's up with you?
Nothing.
Have you got paid yet?
Oh, yeah.
No, not yet.
Listeners are waiting.
So, yeah, they probably won't know yet, but so I went into a new position at work, but for some reason, HR is taking their time. And finally, they moved me over to the position where they can find, because I switched from hourly to salary. Mm-hmm. But I missed a cutover because I think they get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month. And they so happened to push it through after the month ended. So I didn't get paid. Mm-hmm. So they owe me 2 paychecks, which is a whole month. So I haven't been paid in a month.
I've been supporting him.
Yeah.
Comp time.
And so
for
perfect.
10 cents a good day, guys, y'all can support Abraham.
Yeah, 10 cents a
day. Or the sad violin.
Yeah.
Put your cash up on the comments.
Yeah, go fund me.
Go fund
Abraham.
Let's make one.
But yeah, hopefully this Friday it all goes away and I finally get paid. So
and
maybe we can all go to eat. So
Korean.
He already said it.
Yeah, it's on a podcast, so it's.
Has to.
Yeah, you need to keep me accountable.
Wednesday or Thursday I'm available.
Yes, she is. She's off Wednesday, Thursday. How was your week, Margaret?
It was good, actually.
Yeah.
Wait.
Who's this Margaret person?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you introduce our special guest?
Listeners, Sandra, that's about it. And Yvonne, I just sent it to her too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yvonne and Sandra.
Hey, what up?
What's up?
Let me introduce a friend. Long time. Been a couple years, right?
Couple years.
5-6 years.
Yes.
That's a couple 2 years.
I don't know. What year are we in? Yeah, like 6 years.
Yeah.
We met at work at Narcor, and we just been friends ever since.
Yes.
So let me introduce Margaret.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
You need the woo.
Ooh, yeah. Woo!
She's our official security of the podcast.
A sister in Cristo.
Sister in Christ, yes.
Yes.
My first podcast, actually, I've been invited to.
And she's our first guest, guys.
And I'm your first guest.
Very first guest, so.
That doesn't mean much because nobody listens to this.
Hey, we got people lined up.
Yeah,
okay.
you just never know.
And I was gonna start before we start the podcast. I was gonna ask, can you tell us a little bit about not like your Christ, your following, your journey, like kind of not testimonial, but how you started in the church. How did you even get saved or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I moved down to Texas in like about 2003. and I wasn't going to church here. Of course, I was Catholic, and I was raised Catholic. And so I started working for Northside here in San Antonio. And I met somebody at work, and they kept inviting me to church. And I was like, no, I don't want to go. I already go to church. She was a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I think she still is. I'm not sure. And so I finally gave in. I said, yeah. And I showed up. She gave me the directions, and I showed up. I didn't know what to expect. You know, you say church, I'm expecting a big building, you know. But it was off in the corner, and it was a small building, few people. But it didn't matter because I was there, and it ended up being the prophetic night. It was a Friday night. I went after school. I told my then husband, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go meet up with a friend. Not expecting to get saved whatsoever. And they prophesied to me. These guys, they don't know me. They knew my past. They touched certain areas of my life that nobody knew. And I gave my life to Christ, and I never turned back.
Amen. Mira.
Yeah.
Hermana.
Yeah.
I'm about to get saved again.
And from there, I just grew. I started going to service, taught the children, the tiny tots and the 5 to 8s and
tots?
the 12 to 18. Yeah. And then went to ministry school for several years and became licensed and a pastor. I'm still practicing as of today.
Yeah.
Not with the same ministry, but still practicing.
That's great.
You need the organ for pastor.
Oh, yeah, Pastor Margaret.
Hey, Margaret, I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
You say you went to Catholic church before going to church.
Yes.
How does it compare, or how is it different, in your opinion?
It was completely different, being that we do a lot of traditional stuff in the Catholic Church, and I never knew as to why. When I started attending ministry school is where all my questions, were getting answered, little by little. I started understanding about God and why, and who He was in the Bible. They dissected it. Communion, why it's important to have communion, and the difference between certain things. The Catholics, they, use the rosary, and the Christians don't. But I was learning more about God than tradition patterns.
Right.
That I don't know if they still do them today, and I learned a lot of difference between them. But you have to remember, and I don't think a lot of people do know this, is that Catholics paved the way for a lot of churches. When you go back into history, you learn about Martin Lawrence. And
Wait, Martin Luther?
Martin Luther, I'm sorry.
Wait, you're talking about Bad Boys?
I didn't mean to say Martin Luther.
Mike Lowry.
I was like, Lawrence, that is Martin Luther. I'm sorry. I'm glad you caught that. See, someone's paying attention.
He was a former Catholic, too.
Yeah. So
I knew what you were saying. I just didn't catch the Lawrence part.
Yeah,
I knew it was Luther.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Luther.
Yeah, Luther.
And when you begin to learn about the history, you begin to understand. So, they have a lot of similar dynamics and a lot of different dynamics as well.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. It was very different. It was very different. I learned how to pray. Most importantly, I learned how to pray. I learned how to tithe. And some people are a little bit complex about that. They're real uncertain because they see a lot of things, and they maybe even experienced a lot of things, right? When I was in the Catholic church, I would tithe, but I would tithe the scraps,
Yeah.
And so
The
when
leftover.
the leftover. And so when I became a Christian, and I had to learn how to tithe, so I was giving my change, right? And then I had this amazing mentor pulled me to the side, and he said, Margaret, don't ever come empty-handed to the Church of God. Give what you have, even if it's a penny or a nickel or a dime. Give it, but give it with all your heart. So I started doing that. So I would find change, and I would always be the one giving change. And then, of course, bills. Don't think big bills, just bills,
Dollar bill.
And, yeah, and now I'm a faithful tithe giver, you know.
Cheerful.
And it's cheerful.
Cheerful
And
giver.
it's you have to. It becomes a norm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever second guess it. I don't ever second guess it because I don't lack. He
Yeah.
provides in different ways.
Yeah.
Amen.
You know, so I learned that, and you know, I'm a first generation, and it's hard. It's hard because you see your family where you were once at, and they mock you.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do? But I still go. I still pray for them. You know, I still pray for them, and up until the point where they just don't want to hear it anymore. I don't pressure, like bombard them.
Force them. Yeah.
You know, force them. So, because you know it, and it begins to become a battle with the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were once here. I did, but I'm not there anymore. You know, this is who I am now, and some of them accept it, and some of them don't. You know, some of them take me as I am. But you know, I think I've changed for the better for myself. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I still, you know people that go to the Catholic churches.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is your family still in the Catholic
Yes,
Church?
some of them, they practice Catholic. I don't know if they attend.
Mm.
You know, they just say I'm Catholic.
They just say it. Yeah.
Some of them just don't attend at all. Some of my family doesn't attend at all. So, you know, it makes it targets. Even just like I'm a target, even now for the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
they're still a target. So yeah.
Dang.
But I've learned a great deal, you know, and I'm still a lifelong learner. I don't know everything.
Would you say that even as a Catholic, there is still a pathway to heaven?
I believe that there is, because they believe in God, even though they still pray and acknowledge the Virgin Mary. I believe to some extent because they have a prayer life. They have a prayer life.
Yeah, more
So
than
their
some
heart-
Christians.
Yeah.
Their heart is so soft.
Even if it's like traditional,
Yes.
they're only following like a ritual or a tradition.
Yes.
They still do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they have a
Right.
heart. They have
Yeah.
a heart, and it's so soft. When you
Yeah.
have somebody that prays, male or female, because you know there's some men that pray in Catholic churches. They go all out too. You know, they're the ones that take the family, and you know, the women pray, so they have a tangible heart.
Yeah.
So their heart is in their prayer. You know, sometimes I do believe they will. Who it is, I don't know, because you know some of them do pray to God, and some of them do pray to the Virgin Mary.
Right.
You know, and so that's for the Lord to decide.
Right.
But yeah, I do believe that.
So where do you think there's that disconnect from people who say they're Catholics, but just say it like you said, and then go off and do their own thing? They go on Sunday so they can put a Band-Aid on their sin and then go out. But then compared to the people who actually follow the traditions and the whatever it is the Catholic Church does.
Right.
So where is that separation? Where are they missing the mark?
I couldn't tell you where they were missing the mark, but I think I could give you an example from me personally, because I was one of them. When I would continuously go to the club, but I would go show up Sunday.
Mhm.
I would show up Sunday.
In the
I
same
would
outfit.
take communion, and I would tithe.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tithe scraps.
So do you think that the people who aren't going all the way, they're just giving their leftovers? They're doing the minimum to say, okay, I've done my part. Now God is supposed to bless me. You know, they're riding that line from either from serving all the way or jumping to the world.
Correct. You got to remember that in the Catholic Church too, people still have to serve, and there's a lot of people that don't want to serve. They just want to show up, and feel that they're entitled to having the pastor do a wedding or a excuse me, a quinceañera
Mhm.
or a baptism. That's why they have the classes.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Some of us want to take the fast track. We don't want to do the classes because there's just somebody out here that'll baptize the baby.
Yeah.
You miss the mark. We miss the mark for the marriage counseling. We miss the mark for the teaching on the quinceañera. We miss the mark for the baptism. It's an important part. You know, it's an important part of any ministry, any church, whether it be Catholic and Pentecostal, Christian, you know, Baptist,
Mhm.
Methodist,
Lutheran.
Lutheran. Those are important. What are they called?
Denominations.
Denominations, but like a pivotal mark in somebody's life. I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you mentioned that for especially like the tithing, because in the Christian side, we're taught that we're supposed to give our best
Yes.
first,
Yes.
instead of let me pay all these bills, and if I have anything left, I'll give it to God.
Correct.
You know, because there's a difference, right? The tithing and the offering.
Correct.
The tithing we always give, right? Because that's like the standard.
Yes.
But
10%.
yeah, but the offering is more of like, you know what? God's been so good to me that I feel I need to give
Yes.
this.
You're absolutely right.
So, and like you were saying that in the Catholic, I guess, not tradition, but the culture is not to give right away the first, but to see whatever's they have left, and that's what they'll give.
Correct. And that's why, and I see, you know, and you see a lot of people that don't tithe that do have, like they have blessings upon blessings, and you're
Mhm.
wondering, like,
Yeah.
how come that can't be me?
Yeah.
You know, we don't know where they're at in their life too, but you know, some people don't have, it seems like they don't have no kind of downfall, right? But for me, I've seen where people do that, and then I start to think about, in the scripture says that the Lord, you know, Abel and Cain,
Mhm.
they were jealous, right? But because he brought the very best, you
Yeah.
know, and you want the very best from God, because when we ask for something, we want nothing but the best.
Yeah.
You know, we want it our way. When we pray, we want things our way. What if the Lord gave you scraps? How would you feel?
Yeah.
But we don't sometimes think about that. We have like a closed mindset, and we're used to certain things, and different cultures teach us different things as well.
Right.
Our parents teach us different things. You know, it goes back again to tradition, how they were raised. You know,
Yeah.
if we were to look at our culture is Mexican heritage. They are 99% Catholic, and they stand cold hard to it.
Yeah.
They burn candles. They do the rosary. They give flowers to the Virgin Mary. They go on Sundays. They take their families. They take the kids. Some of them go late. Some of them pay tithes, you know. Now, I can speak on that because that's my culture,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I can't speak on everybody else's culture. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think, you know, tithing is where a lot of people do struggle.
You see
No.
any of those struggles in the Christian church?
Yes, absolutely. Where even when people do tithes, they struggle. They feel that they shouldn't, or they don't want to, because that's all that they have. Their dependency isn't on God because they are scared, they're fearful
Mm-hmm.
of not having, of being without, and giving all that they have. You know.
Yeah.
I've been in a negative many times. Gas is full, everything is paid, but no food in the house. But my friends came through. My daughter comes through. You ain't gonna tell me that's God, and I don't even have to tell them anything.
Right.
That's a blessing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Another example. Now these are my examples.
Mm-hmm.
Another example is, I'm praying. I'm asking Lord, like, I need some kind of a miracle. Finances, it's tight. That's when I got promoted to a lead in NARCorps.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if this is you, Lord, because I think I had got asked like 2 or 3 times already. I said, if this is you, they'll ask me again today. If it's you. As soon as I walked in from work, all the leads were talking. Someone came up, and then that's when I responded. I said, this is him. I said, okay, I'll take the job. I'll take the position.
Mm-hmm.
And it just bumped me up. So I had a little more than I did last time.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not having any money for gas, having to ask my friends. So you got to swallow that pride. Do you guys have any $20 you can lend me? I need gas, or you can go fill it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. When they want to go out to eat and you don't have any money, and you tell them, hey, I don't have finances for that, man. When they say, I got you, thank you. You know, Lord bless you. Lord, take care of my friends. That's a blessing. You know, they don't have to pay for you to go out to eat. You know, and then somehow, some way, when you have money, you pay back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you bless them back. And it's a blessing. But a lot of people kind of turn that away. You know, oh, it's just what do they say in the world? It's just luck. It's just luck or a coincidence. That's the word that they use. Oh, it's just a coincidence. You're gonna mean to tell me, yeah, I've been without food. I've gone without eating for a couple days. Nobody knew because I wouldn't take that with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like some people will take it so that you could see them suffering and like, what's wrong with you? You know, I hope that I never showed it. Not that I didn't want to show it, but I didn't feel that, you know, I was like, nah, I know the Lord will come through. But I had to wait it out. And sometimes we don't want to wait it out. We don't want to be patient. Believe me, it was like I was in the desert. I was like this, scratching. But he pulled me through.
Yeah.
And I'm where I'm at today, you know. No complaints. No complaints. But do I have a hard time? Yes. You know. And I'm sure that Catholics too. But you see a lot of them. You see them out there driving their trucks, driving their cars, living in a nice home, being with the family, and going to work the next day like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I think everything has to come down. I think everything is, it's not so much what church you go to if you're Catholic or Christian. I do believe that they do know that there's a God. I do believe that they know that there are signs, wonders, and miracles. But it's the person and their heart, where their heart is at. I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, but that's all he's gonna see at the end.
Yeah.
JP, I knew you came from like a Catholic background as well. How
You're a church boy? How do you call
An
it?
altar boy.
Altar boy? How relatable is that, what you're saying?
Yeah, you could see it. Like everything she said is on point, on aspect. You know, I can speak from. It's not my story, but my grandparents, they were hardcore Catholics. You know, my grandma and grandpa would go to Catholic church. You know, they'd go late, but they'd go, and then Monday comes around, and back to the old self. You know, abusing my grandma. You know, abusing the kids. But come Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, when the Padrecito comes in, complete saint. But at 11 o'clock,
Back to viejo.
back to viejo. And she's right about the whole scraps thing, because when I would go to church with my grandpa, when the limosna time would come up, he would give me $1. That's the most he would ever give me, is $1. But going out to eat, he'd see a waitress he liked, 10, 15, $20.
No,
They
yeah.
left the good tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the truth. Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's the truth. I think that's why they liked going to church on Sunday. I know I did, because we went out to eat afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a kid, we went out to eat. It was a family thing. You see the whole family.
Did you go to buffet?
No,
Luby's?
no, we didn't. I don't even think we had
What else
buffets.
do they
No,
go?
no. We'd go to a restaurant, Mexican restaurant.
Uh-huh.
But you know, it was a small city,
Mhm.
right? It's a small town.
Mm-hmm.
You see all the Mexican families. You know, one family go over here, and then you would see before Golden Corral got to the town. There was no other place but a couple Mexican spots, and you didn't sit them there or there.
Mm-hmm.
All the Mexican families after church would go there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Unless they were having something at the church. It's the same. Like I remember when I had my quinceañera, my mom and dad had to go talk to the pastor. But you know, the first thing they ask is, "You pay the tithes." When was the last time you served? Because you know they got things going on in the church, right? Bien buenos para ir, pero no a limpiar. You know,
Sí.
the father would say that in the mass, right? So it's the same thing.
I think a lot of that stuff is also in the Christian church as well.
Oh yeah.
And maybe not to, well, no, it is to that extent. Because I remember at Maranatha with Mania, like we'd everybody would just give $1.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be even people grabbing change, right? Like they have a $20 bill or something, a big bill, and they didn't want to give the big bill, so they go get the change from the bucket. I always thought that was crazy. I don't know, maybe just me. But yeah, it's some of the same things here too. Because even I remember trying to get into the worship team at Maranatha, and one of the requirements was to be baptized. You know, so you had to do things before you can be a part of the team. Even at Abundant Life, you had to have gone through
An encuentro.
like an encuentro, discipleship classes
Mm-hmm.
to even be a part of anything.
Correct.
So yeah, it's all the same thing. It's just, I guess, at the level to what you want to be a part of it. Because I think I can probably only just speak of the Christian church, but I think it's when people go to a Christian church, it's more of like they have to be involved, because if they're not, they're kind of like an outsider.
Correct.
Whereas everybody, I don't know, maybe in the Catholic churches, everybody is just there.
The same.
Yeah, maybe you'll serve, be an altar boy or whatever sometimes, but it's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not as involved. Maybe.
The Catholic Church?
Yeah.
No. You have the same people read the scriptures. The same people do the.
Dudas.
Yeah. Yeah. The same people do everything.
Yeah.
And why don't you serve? Because you ask yourself, what am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get anything out of it.
Oh, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
If it doesn't benefit you, you don't do it.
The priest would be like, who wants to come set up for the carnival? No one's going to go set up. You're not going to get anything out of it.
Manuel, any thoughts?
We haven't heard much from you, Manuel.
I'm listening.
Well, I mean, that was a super long intro, but it was great. It was great because
Glad you liked it.
I liked it.
it gives a different perspective. I know we had JP as a Catholic, former Catholic.
Warmer. That you think.
Ooh.
Double life.
Double life.
After the 10th, you go and...
Can we hurry up? I got mass at 9.
I got. No, you go there. You go there first.
Before
Every time you drive by in a Catholic church, you're like...
Yes. and that's,
You do it too?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't do it anymore.
she stopped yesterday.
It was
guys.
just like it's just like out of respect. I used to do that. That's so crazy that you did that. I was like, yeah, my dad. Well, when we was kids, my dad still did it. Even I was Christian, he would still do it.
Yeah.
He's all no
Habit.
doesn't know how. No.
Would you do the whole thing every time you walk across the middle? You got to kneel down in reverence.
Yes.
Oh.
Everything. We did everything. We did everything.
Yeah.
And but it was a switch. It was a change.
Yeah.
I guess not to offend Catholics, but it feels like it's more of super into the traditional ritual stuff and none of the relationship with God.
Did you have a relationship?
I could be wrong. I
What
don't
do
know.
you think?
I didn't
Don't
have
kill
a
me.
relationship. I didn't. I just
No.
did what my mom and
Just
dad
showed
and
up.
everybody did. Yeah. I
'Cause-
followed everybody else.
Like if I do these things, I'm good with God.
Exactly. That's how they paint it to you.
I confess to the Padre or Papa or whatever his name is.
The father.
Papa con
Father.
chorizo.
To the
The
papa.
father. To the Papa, that's Papa John. That's the Pope John. I meant
Pope. Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what they call him, Papa Juan. Papa Juan. I didn't mean to say Papa John, but Papa Juan. The Pope.
And
The
we just
Pope
got
John.
canceled by Catholics.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like it's that it's a there's a disconnect because I think I think I mentioned it that I think Catholics go to church to put a Band-Aid over their sin.
I think the way I see it is for Catholics, it's easier. Everything's done for you. Go to church, get communion, go to confession, go do your confirmation. Like all the work is done for you. You just gotta show up. For Christians, you actually gotta do the work. That's what people don't want to do.
So you're saying it's a relationship.
Yeah, you gotta work it.
Yeah, I think on all parts it's a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Goes
Oh,
both
yeah.
ways. Mind blown.
Because I think it's a relationship in both ways because I've seen the older generation where the women are praying, the older, I don't know if, I see the Mexican ladies have the lace covering their head, not because somebody passed, but because they were going to church, and even though they lighted the candles, they were still praying. Them ladies were still praying, Who's praying in the Christian church?
Nobody.
We got.
I think we were talking about it because we've been, at least growing up like in a more traditional Pentecostal church at Maranatha, transitioning to like a mega church, like over 2,000 people, then coming back down to, well, I guess I just stayed mega churches, but it's more modernized stuff. It's more of like, come Sunday, hear this motivational speaking, more of that,
Yeah.
and then like a prosperous message,
Prosperity
like
gospel.
prosperity gospel. That's more of like what's more common these days. There's no more.
You go to hell.
Yeah, when we joke, you're going to hell.
Get right.
Repent.
The conviction.
I
There's
Yeah.
no more conviction.
Yeah, there's no
I
more
still
conviction.
attend those.
Yeah, you have
Uh-huh.
to.
I still attend those.
Yeah.
And because I think people don't, I think they get easily offended. They don't want you to tell them that they're doing wrong.
Exactly.
And so they go to church. No, this church treats me better. They don't tell me that I'm going to hell just because
They
I
give me
lied.
coffee.
Yeah, they give me coffee. I eat a donut. I like this girl there. That's why I go.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And so we lost that part of what the church used to be. It's more of a come and get healing, come and get saved. Now it's a concert and a motivational speaker.
Yes.
It's not a hospital anymore.
Yeah.
Manny,
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
He's our hype
Manny's
man.
wise
He's
words of the
taking
day.
it all in over
Taking
there,
it all
right?
in.
He's taking
Yeah.
it all in.
No, but then he'll come with the Bible verse and then just
Oh,
throw
yeah.
us all down on
He
the floor.
rebuked JP last time.
Yeah, he
What?
did.
Remember about your dream?
Oh, you had a dream?
That dream you
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know what
does it
meant?
still come back? Do you dream?
And then he told you the meaning
No,
of it?
I haven't had that dream.
Oh,
I didn't say it was a
So-
meaning. I just it just
Because he's
No,
Daniel, he interpreted the
Yeah.
dream.
He
Daniel
did.
Manuel.
No, he really did. I was like, that
Nice.
makes
He did.
sense.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
He
was,
saw the writing on the wall.
he did.
Probably.
He read it between the lines.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
And now he's all quiet.
He's just thinking. There's a lot to say.
Thinking. He's hearing everything. He's taking it on.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, just agree. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to always just talk when you disagree.
Oh, yeah, that's what he does more.
Yeah.
He counteracts.
That's when he scoots up into the couch and like gets
He's like,
ready.
no, I don't think so.
Actually,
No, I don't know.
He's like Dwight
Well,
False.
I want to hear
False.
your. I don't know. I just want to hear your opinions.
Oh, that's funny. Now we playing. I'm just kidding.
yeah, we're just kidding.
Margaret, you said you were an ordained minister, right?
Yes.
You're
Amen.
a pastor.
Yes.
As a pastor, Margaret.
I need the organ.
I know.
Oh,
Find the
I know.
organ.
Get it.
So as a pastor, Margaret,
Yes.
what problems have you seen in the church that you really want to talk about?
That just grind your
Problems?
gears.
That just
man.
really grind your
Oh,
gears.
Man, y'all
man.
gotta stop this.
Like people showing up late,
That's
or
no, you can't.
worship
really-
team not playing your favorite song,
No.
or certain pastors have certain favorites.
Yes.
Oh, good segue.
Favoritism.
What really grinds your gears,
Favoritism.
Pastor Mark?
What's been going on, Margaret? What have you
well,
seen?
no. And this would be in my past. Not probably. This would
Yeah.
in my past. When I was growing up as a Christian, I had to learn a lot of things. Being late, that's just I can't be running late. Late to God's house, especially.
No, you showed up an hour early today.
Yeah, I didn't want to be. And I thought I was gonna be late, and then I didn't read the whole text, and it said
She didn't read my
7:30.
text.
We were
yet.
all still taking a nap.
For real. We weren't ready.
I'm sorry.
I'm
But-
kidding. We don't
Like,
care.
oh, the guest is here. Oh my god.
We're kidding.
We
We
ever
don't-
have a dream
always-
about
I'm
Papa
always
John
early.
over here?
Papa John.
And Martin Lawrence. But
I can't believe you said Martin Lawrence.
I was all in. And Martin Lawrence, was that right? And then you said Martin Luther. Yeah, Martin Luther.
But you said it with so much confidence. Martin Lawrence. We're watching Bad Boys over here.
I'm glad that you went to that history class. But
Funny
favoritism.
though, they never taught that in.
They never taught you that in ministry?
No, they never taught that in Catholic school. They didn't want to touch on that.
No, they are more. Well, to be honest, I
Like
couldn't
those,
even tell you
those
what they teach
95
now.
theses were
Yes,
like a
staple. Those are
Yeah.
a staple. If anybody listening to the podcast,
Sandra.
yes, look him up, Martin Luther, and read the history of him.
Lawrence.
Martin.
Watch his
Oh, Martin, I'm
movies.
gonna get you right one day. But
You need the Bad Boys theme song.
No, don't. In remembrance of me. Our first and last podcast, y'all. Forget it. No, but look into him. Yeah, read up on him. Learn a little bit of history. Those are a staple. You'll learn so much when you read about him. You can find him anywhere online, at the thrift store.
The wiki.
Yeah,
Wikipedia.
the Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't really go there. I
You
just
never
go
know.
online. Yeah.
You should do it. You could write it
Yeah.
in. You know so
No.
much.
I don't be touching those things.
Oh yeah, they asked for $1.
Yeah.
Nah, I give it $1.
No,
Yeah.
we just give scraps.
Those are the scraps.
All right, Margaret, how long did you say that you've been in the Christian church now?
Yeah, only like 2006, from 2006 to
man.
now.
That's
It's almost 20 years.
Baptized, rebaptized.
So I guess you've had your
17
time
years.
in.
Yes, absolutely, and still.
So what really grinds your gears?
About the 20 years in the church.
almost 20.
Favoritism.
Yeah.
Don't list all of them, just a few.
We could go through
Favoritism.
a lot. Yeah.
Favoritism.
Yes.
What about it?
Like within leaders. and
Oh, absolutely.
people.
Well, I'd say with the people.
Like
Yeah.
people have their cliques.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure y'all see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
We just
Um,
wanted confirmation.
Yes.
We're not the only
Yeah,
ones.
they oust you.
Have they ousted you?
They don't invite you.
Have they not invited you?
Oh, absolutely.
How'd you feel?
Absolutely.
How'd you feel back then when it happened?
It didn't. It surprised me, beings because I was in church. It didn't
Yeah.
surprise me when I'm at work or out in the world, I should say.
Right.
Right? Because
Mhm.
it happens. It's just a common thing.
Were you still new when you found this out? Or you had already time in there?
I was new but aware. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the spirit. I wasn't in about revelation or prophetic or anything like that.
Did you think, oh, these people behave like the people out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, wow.
So what's the difference? People come here just for a concert and a motivational speaking and have the same?
I don't know. I think there's some people that do want to get closer to God. There's some people that want to get closer to God, but also be closer to leadership. And then there's people that just go be closer to God to want to be seen.
Can you explain the difference?
Between which one?
So you said closer to leadership. Why would
Okay.
someone want to get closer to leadership?
Because the anointing flows from the head down,
Ah.
and you learn, and they'll teach you. Always follow the man and woman of God. Always. You know, if they have something you want, you go and get it. Specifically spiritual. I always wanted to prophesy, but I didn't know how. So when they had the prophetic conferences, I would go. I would attend. I would buy the CDs. But in order to I know I wasn't going to get to where he or she was at. I had to start where I was at. So I had to start little.
And I'm curious, like, what did you want to learn how to do it, or did you want to just get that spirit of prophecy?
I want to learn. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be my best at it. You know, it's just like walking. You want to walk straight and upright, not falling to the side. When you drive, you want to drive correctly. When you write, you want to write with your best penmanship. I wanted to learn the right way, you know.
So you wanted to do what they did to be able to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
So that I could be able to minister to people and prophesy to
So
people.
like if they prayed for 10 hours, you would want to pray 10 hours. And
I would have to, yes. I would work my way up for that. Fast like they would, but I had to learn how to fast. Now remember, I was still new, so everything I had to go baby steps. You know, when I first started fasting, I messed up every day, but they would tell me it's okay. Just start all over from wherever you messed up. They didn't, bash me or tear me down. I learned.
Do you think maybe some people do that because they're arrogant?
Yes. Greedy. They want to be seen. They want to be front and center. They want to be just like them. They want to show everybody that they can do it, that, hey, I can do it too. But you got to realize that that's not something, none of the gifts that he gives us are to be played with. They're not for us, nor should we use them for ourselves, because it'll hinder you. There'll be a consequence, not just for you, but whatever we're speaking into their life. And these are people's lives you're playing with.
Yeah.
You're playing with their heart. It's dangerous.
It's funny you say that because it reminds me of the Elijah and Elisha, right? Because when Elijah was going to die and he asked Elijah, hey, so what do you, ask something from God, what do you want from me? He goes, I want double your anointing.
That's right.
And that's crazy because I think he did like 7 crazy wonders or miracles. So that means he would need to do 14. So it's a responsibility
It is.
to know what you're asking or know, or what you're trying to do, because it's like you say, you can't play around with that stuff. Because if you really wanted that power, well, you're gonna get it, and what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
And so I think you have to have the mindset of Elijah's, to not be arrogant, but to actually want to follow through.
Correct.
Right. So it's crazy you said that, because I do, or I've seen people who do want to just have that fame or that recognition that they're able to do that stuff.
And it's just not in the prophetic team. It's worship. It's worship. It's serving. I had to learn. I learned how to serve.
You just triggered us, because that's what we did.
Serving, right? But I also learned how to serve by reading the book of Brother Lawrence. Did you ever? He was a monk.
She didn't mean Luther.
You mean Luther or Lawrence?
No,
Brother
she
Lawrence.
meant Lawrence.
Who's Lawrence?
Brother Lawrence. He was a monk.
And then he went to Miami PD.
No. He cleaned the church. He would clean the monk station. You have to read the book. Look him up.
What's his first name?
Just Brother Lawrence.
It's just
Yeah, it's like a 96-page book. It's not a really. It's practicing the presence of God.
Brother Law.
Yeah, I learned how to serve cleaning the church. I had to clean the church, clean the toilets. We had a group, right? I think there's a group of 3 or 4 of us. I learned to keep it clean. There'd be days where I'd be by myself. The lead would come in. He's all, by yourself? Yeah, I'm almost done. He said, let me help you. My lead, the head of the house, was there.
So he wasn't showing favoritism.
No.
What happened
So,
there? What's going on there? What did happen?
Well, they would have their meetings, and he would address things. Not just because I'm the only. It happened on certain Sundays. People wouldn't go, or hey, this is our church. You want your family to come, but worship was one. I never did worship, but I like to go because I like to see them practice and sing and do all that. But everybody be mad because they ain't the lead singer, or they're not. They didn't get to go a little longer than they wanted to because the other one did, or it's just little things like that.
You could touch on that. How
On the singing?
Yeah.
Oh, the worship?
Yeah, the worship.
What about
Pursuit. Bro, we just talked about it yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think Margaret maybe can correct me, but I think the most of the favoritism comes from the worship team, because
That we've seen.
that we've seen. Yeah, it's either the worship leader or one of the best singers that they get. They real strong knit with the pastoral team, and whatever they say goes, regardless if they're the leader or not. So.
But is it a fear of losing them?
I think so. I think it's that's what.
If you don't give in to their demands, like, I can go sing somewhere else.
That's what I think happened at Pursuit.
You think so?
Yeah. And that singer, she wasn't the best. It wasn't.
But she was the best there.
You could say that, yeah. And they're paying for their favoritism now because
People are leaving left
people
and
are
right.
leaving. Left and right.
They're not growing. The spirit's not there.
A source told us that the most they've had is maybe 15, 20 people.
They can still have a move of God with that.
No, they can, but the difference is that
The worship.
it's just, how do you say it? Like,
From the source told us that in a meeting they said that we can do things without God.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That they can.
they don't need a fellowship. They don't need they just come to practice. Like, they're not a team. They don't pray together. They come in,
perform.
They just come,
then-
perform,
And then
and
go
leave.
home.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's what I'm saying. That it's not spirit led in there, even with the pastoral team, because
But it's that way because the favorite of the team wants it that way.
it's calling the shots.
Yeah.
And the pastors are giving in for some reason.
Yeah.
And then that's why our friend left the church. And they were devout, her and her husband. Like, they were like, because they would go through, challenges and like, but they still kept going. And I'm like,
Yes.
that's good. Yes, you're faithful. You're not going to church for them. You're going to church for God to serve Him. But she just said that it just blew up in their faces and that
Right.
they blamed her and that it was they didn't want her on her team, and she's like,
Yeah.
I'm done,
All
Right.
that just to please the favorite.
just to please the favorite.
Wow.
I was like, and I felt bad. I felt real bad.
So favoritism is a downfall
Oh,
of the church?
it has to be.
Not the church, I guess, whatever specific department, like the worship team. Like if there's someone who is more...
Anybody in the limelight, and if there's favoritism in that team or ministry, it's gonna go down.
Did you see that, Margaret? Did
I
it go down?
actually I don't know if it ever went down. Like I said, I wasn't part of the worship team.
Or any team, whatever ministry
But
you're in.
personally, I don't think I would have said like it went down, but because we had male and female singers, you know, you had those that played the drum, those that played the guitar, and they would rotate because we would have services 3 times, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they would rotate, right? And so even with the prophetic team, but serving team too. But yeah, the worship team was, yeah. You know, now the job, I'm just kind of, yeah, you would have like, why are they up there? Or, you know, it was just crazy. I'm thinking, man, this is, but our worship was right, you know? They had to get their hearts right when they was on stage. But I'm sure they got spoken to afterward. I mean, I wasn't there, but yeah, I would see it, you know?
Did favoritism ever affect you to the point like, oh, I want to leave? Like,
Yes.
this is too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave on several occasions.
What made you stay?
God. Because I wasn't there for man.
Amen.
I was there for God.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were there for man. Man or woman, you know,
Pastores, yeah.
yeah, they were there. Or they were there maybe because there was someone they liked.
Mm-hmm.
How big was that church?
It was at the most like 50, maybe a little bit more.
See that with you, Manuel? Maranatha?
What?
You need the...
Repeat the question.
What? Do you see any favoritism there at Maranatha?
Or ever did.
Or ever did? Because you said your church was about, what, 50 people?
About 50 or
About.
more, yeah. Yeah.
So is there that same type of problem there? Since yours is smaller?
Maybe years ago. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, I don't really see it too much, but maybe. I'm pretty sure there is, but it's nothing like that's really obvious that I can think of. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm pretty sure it's maybe everybody has their little niche, but it's nothing that's like everybody knows. Oh, that's obviously, you know, his favorite or
Yeah.
her favorite.
Think you're the favorite?
I don't think so. Hopefully not.
I think you would know.
Yeah, I think people you could feel it. You could feel it. There's no doubt.
The way they
You know,
act.
yeah.
How do you deal with the favorites?
When they act all high and mighty and
Oh
the way.
man.
how'd you do it? How'd you have to go in every day?
I'd have to go in. Yeah, I'd go in every
What'd you
day
do?
and
Just with the
I-
smile?
just with the smile and do what I had to do in my area, and even in my area, you know, with the teaching and stuff, where you didn't have somebody, I had to fill in, and there would be times I'd be tired, but you know, I wanted the children to get what they needed to get. So anything that they would teach out there, and I'd get the CD, I would teach it in the class, kind of like pray over them, fire, and prophesy to them. Yeah, I prophesied. They were little kids, you know, and it was really cool. And knowing, and not even knowing at the time that you'll reap what you sow, and so everything I've sowed into the children, even though it's years back, I'll be reaping. I don't know when or if I'm already reaping, but it was a blessing. But you know, yeah, favoritism is high and not just where I went, it just in general. Even when we would get invited places, you just see it. It was just there. I mean, I would see it right off the back. You know, it's just like you can detect when someone don't like you.
Did they ever tell you?
Nah, I knew.
Just with the action?
Oh yeah, I mean, not even with the action. It's just you could
The way
just
they
just
are.
feel it. Yeah. You know, I don't know if guys, do you guys know when somebody don't like you? Or y'all just don't care, or you don't look at it? I mean, I'm not looking for it, but you could just tell right away.
You sense it.
Yeah, you can sense it. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I think it's tough to answer because especially in the church, when I was in there, most of the guys that I hung around with, we were tight. We were in the worship team, so we all hung out with each other outside. So if there was any criticism, it'd be like just playing around.
From each other.
Yeah. And so if it was from like somebody else, it'd probably be from like, it wouldn't be direct. You'd hear it from somebody else, from someone you knew. Like, hey, this guy, he's saying stuff, but I mean, probably doesn't know anything. But yeah, he's talking a bunch of crap.
I mean, y'all could, you, the Rib and Abraham could speak to that there at
Who?
Buena Vista towards the end.
Oh yeah.
Who didn't like me?
Well, it's more like they'll ignore you.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you,
Yeah.
if you
They
don't-
burn the bridge.
Yeah. And that's how I think that's how, when you said they don't, like, if they weren't within your clique, the ministries do have cliques,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and if you're not part of that clique, and even, but me too, I'm a loner, you know. I was a loner at school. I used to hang out with the nerds, the smart people, you know.
So you could cheat off them? You told me, girl. No, I'm kidding,
I wasn't.
Margaret. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I wasn't popular, I don't think, but I mean, it didn't bother me either. I'm not one to be like, I'm the more behind the scenes, right?
Mhm.
So even if I wasn't included and they didn't invite me, it didn't surprise me. But like I said, it surprised me because it's church. You know, I'm like, I thought everybody was supposed to be included. But if you didn't fit into the team or you weren't, certain people just didn't like you because either you are who you are or whatever reason they had.
It's funny you say that the not popular, because I wasn't popular in school either. I was more of a loner as well. Everybody else, like my cousins, they were all in a separate grade than me. The only one that was in my grade was myself. So I could only hang out with myself or my friends if I had any. But so I can't stand being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And so going to the worship team was like, why am I doing this? People are looking at me.
Right.
And-
Remember there on Buena Vista when we rearranged the stage and we put the bass right in the middle of the
Yeah,
stage?
like why would you? I'm like, no, I belong in a corner somewhere.
You wanted to be
You want to
behind the curtain.
scenes.
Yeah.
Literally.
You're the behind the
Yeah,
scenes guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more. That's more of my personality because
Yeah.
I hate being in the stage.
Do sound then. That's why
Well,
I'm
I
in
mean,
sound.
yeah. Well,
Nobody
that's
sees
that's
you.
what I did over there. Like after a while, after they had like a complete band, I went to go do sound, and that was more my thing. I'm like, oh, okay, everybody's looking that way, and I'm
Mhm.
up back here.
Or the live stream.
Yeah.
That's
So
weird.
it was weird to me. So, but hanging around with those guys, I mean, of course we had a clique because we were all hanging out always together, and we could all relate to each other because we were all part of the same team. So I think the problem becomes is when you think you're better than everybody else, and you think, oh, we're in a worship team, so we're cool. We have I guess the famous word now is clout or whatever, or I mean, everybody know. People would walk up to me and call me by my name, like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. You know, and that felt weird to me because coming from like a smaller church, I knew everybody. But like now in over 2,000 people, not everybody, but people knew my name and they would come up to me. So I thought that was weird, but I didn't let it get to my head because this isn't me. I don't have this personality of being on stage and I'm the guy you should be looking at or whatever, you know. So, but I think it does get to people's head, and so whenever especially the singers, if you're a singer. And you have a voice. I probably met just one person that had a pretty good voice, but wasn't prideful about it. She was pretty humble,
Still is.
and everybody else was like, "Oh, look at me! I'm in a worship team." And just because they're in a worship team, they probably weren't even that good either. But
Yeah. It's mainly the people that aren't good.
yeah,
That be like, oh yeah. Look.
I think. I mean, I have to agree with you on that one. Sometimes I think they just. I don't even know. They just want to be seen,
yeah,
like you said.
And-
The part that. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The part that got me was when you said it gets to their head. It does. It does get to their head. And I'd be like, wow. I'm like, Lord, keep me humble. And I always say that, Lord, just keep me humble.
that's why I have a hard time going back to play at a church. because not that I will get prideful or whatever, like, or let it get to my head, but because I don't even want to entertain that sentiment. I don't want to be able to be in that position to where, oh yeah, I'm the guy that everybody looks to do this or that. Like, nah, I want to be.
So when you were you sound? Were you were playing the bass, right, or the drums?
Yeah,
Guitar.
The guitar,
In
right?
general, yeah.
Yeah.
So was that what you were doing last?
I think I was
That
doing
was
the bass.
happening to you?
You're doing bass. You were about to do guitar, but then COVID hit.
Yeah. And so I would always, I don't want to brag or anything. But
Come on, just a little.
no,
Just a little.
Go
because
ahead.
no, because it's not my nature. Trust me, I don't want. But just to prove the point that when I was at Abundant Life, I wasn't even planning on joining the team because I didn't think I was done, but I just didn't want to participate. And then one of my cousins who was going there, he goes, "Hey, just," I was still doing the discipleship classes, and they finished right when the practice was going to start. And so he goes, "Hey, just join us on the stage or the practice." And so I went, and I had just bought a piano because I wanted to learn how to play piano. And so when I got there, the worship leader told me that the piano player didn't show up today, so I couldn't practice. And so I just stood there like with my cousin because he was playing guitar, and I ended up teaching him the song that I didn't know. And so the worship leader comes by again. He goes, "Hey, I thought you played piano." "No, I play guitar, but I want to learn piano." And so he had me play the guitar, and I played it better than my cousin. And he goes, "You know what? Can you play on Sunday?" And so inadvertently or indirectly, not wanting to play, I got to play. So it's not me, oh, I came here to play. I know how to play guitar. I'm better than all of y'all. None of that. None of that. And so for me, it's always been that. I've never been the person I'm here to be number one, whatever.
Right, collect accolades.
It's always been by accident somehow, you know? And so I think, not that everybody should be that way, but it happened to me that way. But because it happened that way, I still have that fear of falling into that prideful side of, because that's worship team being like the front and center of the whole thing. That's where the downfall, if you fall from that, everybody sees.
That's
And
crazy.
you know,
Yeah,
because
the spotlight.
what was it like?
Seen it,
Lucifer,
like, yeah.
he was a worship leader.
He was the worship leader, all the
And
instruments
this
in it,
guy,
right?
Yeah.
fell.
Yeah.
He was God's second-hand man.
Well, he was trafficking though too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was trafficking the angels in heaven.
yeah,
What?
Yeah.
yeah.
The
He
angels
took like
went down with them, man.
he took like 1/3 of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
One time I had a student ask me, how much is 1/3? Well, I don't know. That's something you're going to have to ask the Lord because
I don't
God
know
is like,
maths.
that's like massive, you
Well,
know?
I mean, if it's 100, it's 33.
Yeah.
Yeah. A third, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So you can imagine millions and billions of angels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I mean, that's the danger, because that's where Lucifer came down from. So anybody, when someone in a worship team is going through something because they're either not up there, and you see them on the benches or the chairs, like, oh, something
Pews.
happened,
They're
Yeah.
struggling.
you know.
Yeah.
And so it's
Wow.
tough because you're front facing, everybody knows you, and when you're not there, people notice. If you're not on vacation or something,
Yeah.
people notice, and they will start asking, "Hey, what's going on?" And people find out rumors and stuff, and that's the distraction. So I'm not saying the worship team is the most important, but it's the most important in being right, because you don't want to be a distraction. So we're supposedly the bridge to God and the people, and if there's a disconnect there, like how are you gonna get these people to God if you're not even right? Back in the tabernacle days, the priest had to be like perfectly clean, and if he wasn't,
Sanctified.
he died
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
You know,
In
how
the
much
Holy
more
Land.
us that we need to be that bridge. And if we're not doing what we're supposed to do, then how are we helping the people?
That's so good.
You know?
Cut.
I never seen worship like that.
But you wouldn't. Well, not that you wouldn't, but people wouldn't think of it like that because they just see the outside. You don't see the
They just
the
see
struggle.
the smiles
Yeah,
and
we
the
don't see the
perfect
behind
list.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Yeah.
And we don't. That's the truth.
And you see people worshiping, playing, singing. They're going all out, and you see them happy, enjoying it. But you don't know they just had a fight before going up there. One of the family members is sick, but it's a lot for us as well as much as it is to the people, because we're joining them. We're not a standalone bridge. We join together. So we're enjoying it in that experience, and so we're also receiving while also being the catalyst. So it's not that you have to be perfect doing or being part of the worship team, and I guess that includes like sound and the screens and
Or any type of serving.
yeah,
too.
any type of production stuff. It's all the same thing as far as like being that bridge, because you're either helping or you're a distraction, and that's why there's practice.
So let me ask you this: on the worship team, because that's like a source for us as well, because we have to worship the Lord. We're called to worship Him, like David did.
Mm-hmm.
So even as a worshiping, and you're, I think it'd be like anybody going. Like if I were to go in there and something happened, I would worship to break through. So would you guys be doing the same thing, even though you're up there on the worship team? You know what I mean? Like you're on the worship team, right? We're created to worship God, like David.
Right.
I go, let's say I'm going to your church, you're on the worship team. I'm going, I've had a stressful week. I need a breakthrough, and something just happened over the phone. So I go in there, you're playing worship music. I'm worshiping and crying out because I need my breakthrough, so I can have the presence of God over me and, have an encounter. Do you guys do that while you're worshiping?
I
Good question.
Or
It
do
depends
you
what
stay
role
in
you're
that
playing
place?
too.
When that is happening, I think we have to concentrate. I know it probably sounds bad, but we have to concentrate more
On the set.
on not being a distraction. Because if we start joining in on the part that you guys are doing, then it's not that we can't multitask, but if something messes up, that distraction is so,
It sends waves out through the congregation.
Yeah.
Like even if he hits the wrong string, it's gonna notice Margaret. You're gonna be like, what?
and
then
that'll
you already
take
lost that
people
connection.
out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I think for us, that's why during practice and stuff, what's really good is having like our devotional time, our worship time, separate from Sunday. Not that we can't do it on Sunday, but we have to be spiritually and mentally prepared for Sunday because of the people that are coming in on Sunday. And so we don't want to be a distraction to the new people or the people that are wanting to make a connection. So we have to be good first. And I'm not saying we're going to be perfect on Sunday because everything can happen all the way up to Sunday. But we have to know that we've already asked God to be in the process so that nothing can go wrong, so that the people that are lost and need His help can go without any issues or distractions.
Interruptions,
Yeah.
I always wondered that. I was like, well, when there's a worship team, and even when I was, in the ministry that I was at, be like, when would they get, when do they worship if they're setting the performance for us? Not
Yeah.
like performing, but
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
are
yeah.
bringing the worship to us,
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes they would join in, but they would all be, the instruments would stop.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, so how would you guys do it? But now that it makes sense, I never knew the backside of that.
I guess because it takes a real talent to actually be in the worship team, to be able to do both when it's called for.
Right.
You have to be able to not mess up because that's a distraction, but also when the Spirit of God comes down, there's nothing else you can do but to give in. But be mindful still that if you need to stop, because you don't want to be the only one playing, or it sounds weird if it's only the drums, or there's no bass, or there's no whatever. If anything, just the pad or the keys.
Keys, yeah.
And so you got to be aware too of what's going on, because you don't want to be a distraction. But also you can't deny if God is like calling you, or the Spirit is calling you onto like praying or whatever. So it's really, of all depends. Maybe that's not the right answer, but it really just depends on what's going on. You can't. This is not like oh, this is happening, so there's not a blanket statement for something.
Yeah.
It depends on every little. It's kind of more of, you have to
You gotta play it by ear.
you have to read the room, what's going on, play it by ear, what's best. You see something going on, people are getting animated or something, and you don't want to disturb that, so you want to actually encourage that. So you want to either play more or just calm down, or you have to really be like in tune to what's going on.
So that ties with, you need to have a strong spiritual life in
Right.
in any team, not just the worship team.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's when it comes. That's when you got to do your own devotional. And then if your team already does the devotional, that's even better, like how we were saying. And we started doing that. Just we take turns. Everybody does just like a 5-minute, a word or a verse, and that's it. And it's really helped us. So I think for anyone in the team listening or out there, you need your own worship. You need your own spiritual. You need your own word, time with God, because it will show when you don't. It will show, like you said, when you're up there and it's spontaneous worship. Oh, whoa, I don't know any verses. Oh, what do I say? I'm blank.
Yeah.
That's bad.
You can have the greatest voice or be the best talent up there, but when it comes to, showing what you know in the spiritual side, and you don't come up with anything,
That's more important.
it's more important. Yeah.
I don't care how good you sing. Do you know your word?
good.
Do you know any verses? Like, do you talk to God?
Yeah,
Dangerous.
sorry, go ahead.
Dangerous. No, it was dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we mentioned before that people come for a concert now and motivational speaking, but we missed the mark on the concert because it's supposed to be guiding people to the presence of God instead of giving them a show.
Correct.
Because you're supposed to, it's not like a concert where a concert, they just play the song, they play the hits, play the favorites, they play the new ones, and then they go home, right?
The songs that make them
Feel
feel
good.
Right.
the
Feelings.
presence.
Good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Feelings.
and so there's got to be, I think we talked about this before, there's got to be like this communication with the leadership as well, because what if you pick songs that have nothing to do with the message? Like you're singing revival, they're preaching,
Destruction.
yeah.
Destruction.
Like what is that?
Wow.
Well, that might work in a sense where it's like a revival, but I'm saying like if they don't go together, like what's the point? You're just putting on a concert. You're playing your favorite songs. Oh, let's play this song. I like this song. It sounds really pretty.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, I feel God.
I feel
in
God.
This one.
And no.
Yeah.
So how do you know what to play? Do
It-
they give you guys
I think
like a list? I don't know. I'm just
No, I think-
Experience,
No.
prayer, and then just
you also got to see if how people react to
Respond
songs.
to
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah.
as
and
well.
also to the type of congregation depends a lot. Like at the
Mhm.
church we're going to, I'm not gonna put on some Lecrae because all the people are gonna be like, "What the heck is this?" You know?
They do They
Yeah.
love coritos. They love old school songs. So you gotta play with your
I
honor.
listen
You
to
know?
a lot of old school.
Yeah?
Mercy Me. Is it because it's not the same?
You like Jeremy Camp?
Yeah, they're I like Jason Upton,
Oh, he's pretty good.
Corey Russell. I don't listen to a lot
Of new.
of new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I'm
sounds
the
all the
There's
same.
no
same.
weight
Yeah.
on it.
It
It's not
sounds
no weight
Same
on
6415.
It's
Yeah.
the same.
And I thought,
Mine are
man,
too.
Lord, it's so crazy that you said that it's a concert, but yeah, I let him know that too. I said, Lord, the music don't sound the same. Like, where did we lose worship? Where did we lose worship? Where did it go?
Well,
And let
it's-
me
sorry,
Good
go ahead.
and let me ask you this, Margaret, since you're not part of the worship team. What you asked, where did we lose worship? What do you think is missing? Because obviously now in 9 out of 10 worship songs are going to sound the same. They're all going to have either in the valley or in the river, in the desert or in the ocean, something like that. What do you think needs to change?
The
Like,
heart,
The heart.
no sensibility. There's no connection. I think sometimes they sing to hear themselves feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Does it bring presence? Is it anointed? Just because it sounds good and it makes you move and it makes you cry.
Yeah.
God doesn't just move by tears.
No.
Tears don't move God like that. Worship does.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there's no instruments playing, you just singing in your voice.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's a lot of people that don't like the way your voice sounds. I had that happen to me.
Really?
They're laughing at me when I was singing.
Mm.
I didn't sing as good as them. But there's some people that were like, wow, you can sing. That's why I sing to myself in my car. The shower, I be praising the Lord in my own house.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get what's for me, And so, I think a lot of heart is sincere, being serious about God and wanting to, man, you should be wanting to bring the Holy of Holies to these people. They need an encounter. San Antonio needs an encounter.
Let me ask you this, Margaret. At the church where we're at, leadership is real adamant on when it comes to song selection. They pick songs that it's really the pastor. He picks songs that he thinks that the pastora feels and likes. So he said
spews the spirit
yeah.
in certain songs.
He said at one point we need to play songs that please her. What are your thoughts on that?
What?
What I would have to say that I think you would have to, you should be, bringing or using and playing songs that bring the presence of God, Holy Spirit. I don't, because if you're pleasing the woman of God, is that really going to captivate the people's heart? Where the ministry that I was attending, they sang in the Spirit. So when they had their practices, right, would be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they would start and they'd have their song, but it wasn't a song from like They're Playing Now, Mercy Me, or anything like that. I think maybe, which is my favorite song.
Which one?
Lamb of God, the To Him Who Sits on the Throne.
Who sings it?
I'm not sure. I think a lot of people different. I don't know who the actual writer is. But when they sing it, especially when the woman of God sung it, my goodness, it just took me away,
Mm-hmm.
But even the man of God sung it, and even I think one of the leaders from the worship sung it as well. But they would sing different songs that came from their spirit because, they're on the worship team, so they didn't go through. At the beginning when I first went, they did. They even had the words. I was over there learning and about the tapes. To please the woman of God, I think it's probably error.
What are tapes?
Shut up.
And I would say you'd want to please God, unless I'm wrong. But I think that's.
Yeah.
What do you think, Abraham?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that they want to pick songs to please a person. Doesn't matter if they're Christian or not. It's for a person.
And don't get me wrong, the song selections they pick, it moves the room. But I'm like, is it just emotion or is it God moving?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are they diverse in their selections?
And it's the same songs all the time.
Oh.
Yahweh.
Yahweh con esa.
Párale, güey.
So, during worship, sometimes I tell Steph, I'm like, I know it's not true, but I'm like, so man, I bet God gets annoyed with the same 4 songs.
Oh, you got
Like,
to
you
remember
can't
the
sing a new
angels sing
song?
to him. The angels sing to him, holy, 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 24/7.
I'd rather sing that than
365, yeah.
Yahweh.
Well, I mean, what happens when honestly, what happens when you repeat something over and over and over? Do you still have the same excitement as the first time? After the 100th time? Is it still the same excitement?
For the woman of God, like Margaret says, yeah, it's the same one. But for the people, you can tell, like, we played it today. And
It
was
had
just
been a
like-
while since we played it, though.
And we played it, and it was just like,
What, you skipped the Sunday?
Hopefully she don't drive them out
yeah.
because they're like gonna.
But she would
Become
always
stagnant.
she would always tell us, like, no, they love consistency. This congregation loves the same thing.
And
I'm
I
like,
told the pastor, the man of God, I like that phrase. And I told him, I'm like, maybe because y'all haven't introduced them to anything new.
So that's what we're trying to do, little by little. It's not even new songs. It's old, but just new to them, new to that church. But it's not new, like this year new. No. It's like what?
2012.
No, the songs, like an example. Like Creo en ti. Have you heard? Creo en ti, Jesús. En lo que harás en mí. Or what's the other one? Anyway, but it's new to them, and we're trying.
We're trying.
That's it. That's all we could do.
Sometimes you're just gonna ask the Lord to have His way.
Yeah.
Lord, have Your way in this house.
And then I think about that, like, oh, dang, if she's very, anointed, then she's very prophetic as well. Like, well, am I wrong? Like, I thought that too. Like, wait, should we shut up and just let her, do what she said? Like, obedience. That's when we're like, we have a hard time with that when it's something that looks wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. I don't know.
Manuel, any thoughts?
Sounds good.
I think it's a good spot.
Tired or what today?
No, I'm just listening.
Just let him listen, bro. It's okay.
No.
Taking notes.
I
I'm
need,
the, I'm the fly on the
Taking
wall.
notes.
I need the usual manual that will come back
with
with.
the mic.
No.
Well, numbers 3-7 says.
No, I mean.
He's pulling out the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I see what do you remember that telephone roller? I see that.
Oh,
The Rolodex?
Yeah, the Rolodex, because he's processing everything that's being said, so he's just taking notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Oh, what's the food report for today?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Turning into manual.
It's hot out there.
It is hot out there. I got my truck back.
Oh, yeah.
There's a gas pump. I owe everybody money because I haven't got paid yet.
Oh, you'll get it.
Yeah, hopefully on
Just
Friday.
make sure
You need
they
one of those
do
that
it
take a
right.
number ones?
Yeah. I give you an IOU. Yeah.
Billie Jean, IOU.
Yeah. No, nothing really crazy going.
You're grinding your gears.
I haven't even seen the news. What's going on? So I don't know.
Nothing new.
Nah.
What about you,
Same.
Manny? What's grinding your gears?
Oh, did you see cocaine was found at the White House?
Oh, well, yeah. I think that was last week, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's strange.
Yeah.
And then suddenly 2 days later, the Secret Service said that they're not going to investigate.
Sounds like the government.
Any final thoughts, Margaret? So you can tell the peeps.
What's
I
the
would just-
security report? What's on your mind?
I would just say, personally, everybody, should encounter God when their time is ready. I think sometimes we want to rush people to do certain things, And if you see favoritism and you don't feel like you can tell someone, at least speak to somebody that you have confidence in.
Amen.
Worship.
Pastor Margaret. All the way from Alamo Ranch.
Bringing that fresh anointing. From Alamo Ranch to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office to the south side of San Antonio. Bud, end us off.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you,
We
We
Margaret, for coming
appreciate
by.
it greatly.
For having me on.
Our very first guest.
She'll come back. Oh, you want to come back?
She will,
Yeah, absolutely.
but at the right time.
At the right time. 7:30.
Let me know.
Give us another hour of sleep, please.
Hey, she'll be here at 2 a.m.
Always
next
on
time.
Oh, bruh.
I'm here for
I
the
hope to be.
podcast.
Manny, thank you for driving up the whole 2 minutes over here.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for your words.
Words of wisdom.
Yes, words of wisdom.
I think it was 4. I
Strike
counted.
Yeah,
Four?
Five.
words.
5 words, I think. I think so.
That's a new
record.
low. That's a new low.
Even for you. Even for a Bud Light drinker, it's a new low.
All right, Joe. Don't forget, we are now on Spotify and YouTube.
Yes.
Don't forget to rate us, subscribe, follow,
Leave a review.
leave a comment,
A good
leave a
one.
nice review, please.
Please.
Nice.
Yes.
And if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss, please email us at onechurch.culture@gmail.com.
Or if y'all want Pastor Reverend Margaret back, we can bring her back.
Peace. Let me see you clap your hands. Good night, everybody.